Hi, it's Marcelin, and I'm here with Janel Holland, who is a licensed clinical social worker here in Brunswick, Georgia. Janelle and I have been colleagues and friends for a number of years, and she's here to talk about some of the stressors she's experiencing as she continues in her private practice. I want to tell you a little bit about Janelle. She is the owner and solo practitioner providing outpatient mental health services in her private practice, and she's been in business for 5 years. She has also provided social services for the past 15 years. Her clientele has included youth, individuals, couples, and families. Along with her clinical skills, Janelle combines her call to ministry to also provide Christian counseling. Her career has afforded her the opportunity to work in a number of significant positions, including executive director for a nonprofit organization, clinical manager for a child and adolescent mental health program, and as a clinical counselor with the military. In addition to working one on one with clients, Janelle also facilitates group counseling and is often called upon to do presentations about mental health in various community settings. Janelle helped to start a clinical connections group where clinicians of all backgrounds meet on a regular basis for networking, support, and case consultation, as well as for training. So, Janelle, I want to thank you
Thank you.
for joining me today.
It's great to be here.
We're just going to chit chat a little bit.
Okay.
You've been in private practice for 5 years.
5 years.
And I want you to tell me a little bit about how you started. How did that start?
Well, I think I've always known that I had entrepreneurial streak in me somewhere along the line. And so the opportunity to start my practice came after I received my license. And I thought about I could do this on my own also. So while I was working still full time, I started my practice and started seeing one or two clients in the evening after work and just started building my practice from there.
Okay, okay. Well, tell me about.
Excuse me.
Mhm.
Excuse me. I'm
You
sorry.
okay?
Yes.
Okay. Tell me about some of the job responsibilities that go along with maintaining a private practice.
Well, as a solo practitioner, I am the one stop shop lady. I do it all from seeing the clients, insurance verification, insurance billing, documentation, marketing, letting people know I'm in the community and providing these services, to bookkeeping, making sure that I'm maintaining books. So at the end of the year to do your taxes. So I do that all myself, and that is a big responsibility. And it is at times can be very stressful when you think about everything you need to do to run a business as one person.
Tell me about some of that stress.
It may come a time when you're trying to get insurance verified, but you only have 15 minutes because the next client's coming in the door, and you're on the hold. Press one, press two, press three to get to the insurance representative,
Yeah.
and you're hoping that it will hurry, 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 so that you can get that verified before that next client comes in the door. So those sort of things, or you're in the middle of trying to balance your books and you can't find 10 cents and to make the check register balance. So just those kind of things that sometimes can be challenging. I tend to find those things more challenging than some of the things that come up with the clients because
Okay.
I always feel like that's what I'm here for, to help the clients with their difficulties. That I mean, those are challenges sometimes, but sometimes it's more the day-to-day things that tend to kind of be a little bit more stressful to me.
Okay. We talked a little bit about goals off camera, and I want you to talk about that a little bit. When you started your private practice, did you have a goal in mind or an idea of what you wanted your private practice to look like?
I think I had a vision of what I wanted my practice to be, but I didn't set up concrete goals, or things that I wanted to meet, say in 3 months, here in 6 months or a year. Now that I have been doing more research about how to run a successful private practice and seeing some of the coaches and mentors that work with clinicians, I think I'm becoming more deliberate about setting some of those markers that I want to reach. But in the beginning, no, honestly, it was just open the door and let the clients come running in.
Okay.
Hmm.
Let me ask you this. Um, in terms of your practice and your home, in setting up a private practice, having to put in a lot of time in your business,
Hmm.
did that affect your home life in any way?
Absolutely, absolutely, yes. I found myself, because I worked so much,
Mm-hmm.
on Saturdays, on some Sundays, I would be working, because I wanted to do. I always told myself, if I was going to do this, I was going to do it the right way, and I was going to do it excellently. So I was willing to put in whatever needed to make that happen. So with that said, a lot of things at home got neglected: laundry, cooking dinners, even some things that I enjoy doing, like reading. I can't tell you the last time I read a book for pleasure.
Mm.
If it's not a book about clinical diagnosis or running your business, I haven't read it. So some of those things definitely got put by the wayside.
Okay. So, in starting your business, you put a lot of time into it.
Hmm.
You're doing, in addition to doing the therapy, which you enjoy and
Hmm.
love, you're having to do other things:
Right,
bookkeeping, just managing the insurance,
right.
all of those things. Trying to get people in the door,
Hmm.
activities that get people in the door,
Right,
and that takes a lot of time.
right.
How have you managed that? What have you done? Have you put things in place to try to counteract some of that?
Um, I would say one of the things that's helped me is being connected to the community, being
Okay.
someone who's from this community, raised in this community, and have worked here now for several years. That I think that I have built relationships with others that sometimes they call upon me. I've been fortunate enough they've called upon me to say, "Hey, we hear that you're doing counseling now. Do you think you could see some of our clients?" So that's afforded me a great opportunity, and that's helped. But you still have to get out and, as we like to say sometimes, beat the bushes. Let the others who don't know in the community what you're doing, whether it be the doctor's office or the local judicial system, those sort of things. But having those things in place so that you have a continual feed of clients coming in, that's what you're hoping for, that you'll keep a continual resource of new clients coming in. So you don't have that stress of, oh my gosh, I have 5 days and no clients booked. Then that becomes a whole nother stressor, that you start to worry, am I going to be able to feed myself? And, can I pay the bills? There's also rent for your office
Oh,
space.
yes.
So it's like you want to make sure you have the resources in place so that you can maintain what you're doing.
Okay. Tell me some of the ways that you have addressed some of the stresses that you faced in starting and continuing your private practice.
One of the things I've had to do recently is cut back on some things. I had to determine, what I needed to do and what I had to do and what I wanted to do. And with that said, I had to let some things go. I had too many irons in the fire. I was spreading myself too thin. Group counseling over here, individual counseling there, providing services for this agency. So it was just a little bit too much. And after taking a step back and, some good mentors and friends, who help point me in the right direction, maybe you don't need to do all of that to maintain what you're doing. So I definitely stepped back and cut some things out. And then also, I've been fortunate enough recently to have someone to come in just on a very part-time basis to help with some of the administrative tasks.
Okay. So you've talked about some very, very key points. You've talked about setting boundaries and limits for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do everything.
You can't.
So you looked at your practice and looked at how you were functioning,
Mm-hmm.
and you looked at what you needed to do,
Mm-hmm.
what you wanted to do
Right.
and what you had to do.
Absolutely.
And you've structured that so that you're not doing everything. You've also brought in some assistants where
Right.
you have an assistant who can help you with some of those tasks.
Yes.
The other thing I heard you say is you're using community resources
Right.
to also help you. So that is also very important, especially in building a private practice.
Right.
Another thing I wanted to ask you, Janelle, is what are some of the self-help things that you do personally that get you through?
Well, I rely on my spirituality a lot. Um, I pray a lot. I make sure I attend, church services. That helps me to feel re-energized, gives me hope and expectation for the future. Another thing that I really need to incorporate more on a more regular basis is exercise. I tend to put my nose to the grind more, and so this week I've walked one day,
All
but
right.
next week I may only ride my bike 2 days. Nothing consistent. So, but that's something that I want to incorporate more regularly, and something that I would like to do is start more leisure reading. I love to read, but lately I haven't had an opportunity. Usually I'm reading something that I feel is going to help me, with the business or help me with ministry or just help me to grow. So it's not been any real, kind of that disconnect where you can just have some mindless reading about anything.
I'm really excited that you talked about exercise. Exercise is an excellent way
Absolutely.
to relieve tension and stress, particularly tension that's being held
Mm-hmm.
in your muscles because
Right.
we get real tight.
Yes.
But that movement
Tight.
helps us. That's
Mm-hmm.
right. And in the shoulders, it helps us to relieve some of that.
Right.
What I'm going to suggest as your friend
Thank you.
is that you set a goal for yourself for
Mm-hmm.
exercise. We tend not to be consistent
Right.
a lot of times, but if you can say, I'm going to walk for 15 minutes
Mm-hmm.
twice a week,
Right.
just start with that and then just build up.
Build on.
I think that will help you to become more consistent.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that we can do for a period of 2 weeks straight, 2 weeks straight, 4 weeks straight, it becomes a habit.
Right.
So we want the exercise to be a habit.
Mm-hmm.
You also talked about reading, and I'm a reader too,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't always read like I want to,
Mm-hmm.
but with reading is a good way to relax.
Right.
So you can even build that into your nighttime routine.
Right.
Even 10 minutes of reading
Mm-hmm.
is great. But knowing you'll start reading. You won't want to stop.
And I won't want to stop. And then it'll be 2 o'clock in the morning, and I have to be up the next morning. Yes. Yes.
Janelle, I want to thank you for coming and sharing with us and with our audience. I think it's very important for clinicians to share how they personally
Right.
relieve some of the stress and tension that we feel on a day-to-day basis. It's also, I think, helpful as I'm trying to build a community of support for social workers and clinicians and social service professionals to hear from others who are going through similar experiences.
Right.
Is there anything else you'd like to share?
I would just like to say that it's been a great opportunity. I love being an entrepreneur. And one of the things that I love to talk to my clients about is stress management, because sometimes we do tend to forget that we need to put things in place. We think it just kind of happens haphazardly that, I'll just relax. So it's been a good experience for me to have you to reinforce to me some of the things that I need to put in place for myself as a business owner, just to keep my energy level up to do what I do. So thank you.
Thank you. And this has been the Happy Half Hour Conversation with Janel Holland. I hope we've shared some information that's been helpful to you. Please, 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 if you have any questions or if you want some other helpful tips, visit my website at mlbaileyconsultantsinc.com. Again, this is Janel Holland, and I'm Marcelyn Bailey. Thanks for visiting.